Jake Martinez walked through the long halls of the Federation Embassy on Earth. His shoes made soft sounds on the metal floor. He carried a datapad with information about the new alien visitors who would arrive today. As a cultural liaison, Jake's job was to help different alien species understand each other and work together. The year was 2387, and Earth had become an important place for alien meetings. Many different species came here to talk about peace, trade, and other galaxy matters. Jake had been doing this work for 3 years now. He spoke 5 alien languages and understood many more. Today was special. Princess Zarathis of the Etherian Empire was coming to Earth. Her people looked like living crystals that could change colors with their moods. They were very smart and could read thoughts. Most other aliens found them scary, but Jake was excited to meet her. Commander Lisa Brooks stood near the landing pad with her security team. She was a tall woman with short brown hair and serious eyes. Lisa did not trust aliens easily, especially royal ones who might cause trouble. "Jake, remember that this princess is dangerous," Lisa said. "Her people can get inside your head. Don't let her trick you with mind games." Jake nodded but did not agree. He had read about the Etherians. They were not evil, just different. Their crystal bodies could live for hundreds of years, and they thought very differently than humans. The Etherian ship landed without sound. It looked like a giant crystal that caught sunlight and threw rainbow colors everywhere. The door opened and Princess Zarathis stepped out. She was beautiful in a way that Jake had never seen before. Her body was made of clear blue crystal that seemed to glow from inside. She was tall, maybe 7 feet, and moved like she was floating. Her face had the same shape as a human woman, but her eyes were like deep blue stars. "Welcome to Earth, Your Highness," said Ambassador Tony Chen, Earth's chief representative. He bowed slightly, as was proper for meeting alien royalty. Zara looked around at all the humans watching her. When her eyes met Jake's, she stopped moving. For a moment, neither of them looked away. Jake felt something strange, like a warm feeling in his chest. "You are the cultural liaison," Zara said to Jake. Her voice sounded like music mixed with wind chimes. "I can sense that you are different from the others." "Different how?" Jake asked. He was not afraid, just curious. "You do not fear me. Most beings fear what they do not understand. But you want to understand." Her crystal body changed from blue to a soft purple color. The next few days were busy with meetings and talks. The Etherian Empire and the Vorthon Collective had been fighting small battles for months. Now the Vorthons were getting ready for a big war. The Federation wanted to stop this before millions died. Jake's job was to help Zara understand human ways of thinking and to help humans understand her people. They spent many hours together, walking through Earth's gardens and talking about their different worlds. "Your species is very strange," Zara told him one evening as they sat by a lake. "Other aliens think with only logic or only emotion, but humans use both at the same time. How do you do this?" Jake thought about her question. "I guess we just feel things and think about them too. Like right now, I feel happy talking with you, but I also think about why that makes sense." Zara's crystal body turned a warm golden color. "Among my people, we share thoughts and feelings directly. But with you, I must use words. Yet somehow your words carry more meaning than the thoughts of my own kind. Maybe that's because we have to work harder to understand each other," Jake said. "When something is easy, you don't value it as much." As days passed, Jake and Zara grew closer. She taught him about crystal cities that sang in the wind and oceans of liquid light. He showed her human music, art, and the way people could love someone they had never met just by reading their story. "This is impossible," Zara said after Jake played her a song about love. "How can your people feel strong emotions for beings they have never touched or seen?" "It's called imagination mixed with heart," Jake explained. "We can care about anyone if we understand their story." But their growing friendship was interrupted by terrible news. The Vorthon Collective had attacked 3 Federation worlds without warning. Thousands were dead and more attacks were coming. "I must return to my people," Zara told Jake. Her crystal body had turned dark red with anger and sadness. "The Etherian Empire cannot let this evil continue. How long will you be gone?" Jake asked, though he feared the answer. "Wars between star empires can last many years," she said quietly. "I may never return." On her last night on Earth, Jake and Zara walked alone through the embassy gardens. The stars shone brightly above them, and Jake thought about how far apart they would soon be. "I want to give you something," Jake said. He handed her a small communication device. It won't work across star systems, but maybe someday we'll be close enough to talk. Zara took the device and held it carefully. Her crystal fingers glowed softly as she touched it. "Jake Martinez, will you remember me when I'm gone?" "Yes," he said without thinking. "I'll remember everything about you. Even if I am gone for years? Even if you meet other people you care about?" Jake looked into her star-like eyes. "Humans don't forget people they care about. We remember them in our hearts, and that memory stays strong no matter how much time passes." Zara's crystal body turned bright white, the color of surprise among her people. "This is another impossible thing about humans. My people forget relationships when physical presence ends, but you promise to remember across time and space?" "I promise," Jake said. "And if you come back even after many years, I'll be here." The next morning, Zara left Earth with her crystal ship. As Jake watched her disappear into the stars, he touched his chest where that warm feeling had grown stronger each day. He did not know that his promise would be tested by 5 years of terrible war, or that his ability to keep loving someone across impossible distance would prove to be humanity's greatest gift to the galaxy. But he knew that no matter what happened, he would remember the alien princess who had asked him to keep her in his heart. The war began 3 weeks after Zara left Earth. The Vorthan Collective attacked 12 Federation worlds at the same time. Their black ships moved like angry insects through space, destroying everything in their path. Jake watched the news reports with growing fear. Entire cities were burning on distant planets. Millions of aliens were running from their homes trying to escape the Vorthan attack. The Federation military was not ready for such a big war. "We need every ship and every soldier," General Marcus Stone told the Earth Defense Council. He was a big man with gray hair and tired eyes. "The Vorthons are not just trying to win territory. They want to destroy every other species in the galaxy." Jake volunteered to join the war effort immediately. His language skills and understanding of alien cultures made him valuable for dangerous missions. He would go to refugee camps and war zones to help coordinate between different species. Captain Kelly, Wright, commanded the human ship, Earth's Pride. She was a smart woman with red hair who had never backed down from a fight. Her ship carried supplies and messages between Federation forces scattered across the galaxy. "Martinez, you're coming with us to the Kepler system," Kelly told Jake. "There are 6 different alien species there, all trying to fight the Vorthans together. They can't understand each other's battle plans." Jake packed his few belongings and the communication device Zara had given him. Every night he tried to send messages through it, hoping she might be close enough to hear. But space was vast and the device stayed silent. The Earth's Pride jumped through hyperspace to reach the battle zone. When they arrived, Jake saw something that would stay in his memory forever. Hundreds of ships from different worlds were fighting together against the Vorthan swarm. Crystal ships like Zara's people used flew next to metal Federation cruisers and organic vessels that looked like giant fish. But the different species could not work together well. The crystal people fought with precise mathematical attacks. The fish-like Aquarians moved in flowing patterns like ocean currents. The rock-like granite warriors just charged straight at the enemy. Each species fought in their own way, and this made them weak. "This is chaos," said Admiral Roy Jackson when Jake reported to the command ship. Roy was an old soldier who had fought in Earth's last war. "Every species has their own ideas about how to win battles. We need to make them work as one army." Jake spent the next months traveling between different alien fleets. He learned that each species had their own strengths, but they also had weaknesses. The crystal people were very smart but took too long to make decisions. The Aquarians were flexible but got confused easily. The granite warriors were brave but could not change their plans once they started fighting. But humans were different. Jake watched human soldiers and ship crews work with aliens from every species. Humans could adapt their fighting style to match whoever they fought beside. More importantly, humans never gave up on their teammates, even when logic said they should retreat. The first time Jake saw this was on the planet Rigel 7. A mixed group of soldiers was trapped behind enemy lines. The logical choice was to abandon them and save the larger army. Every alien commander agreed this was the right decision, but Captain Ben Murphy, a human pilot, refused to follow orders. "Those are our people down there," he said. "We don't leave anyone behind." Ben took his fighter ship on a dangerous rescue mission. He saved 17 soldiers from 5 different species, including 3 who were badly hurt. When alien commanders asked why he risked so much for so few, Ben looked confused. "They're part of our team," he said. "Humans don't abandon teammates." This happened again and again throughout the war. Human soldiers would risk their lives to save alien comrades. Human ship captains would stay and fight impossible battles to protect retreating allies. Other species began to notice this strange human behavior. "It makes no logical sense," said Commander Thexari of the Crystal People. "Why do humans care more about individuals than victory?" "Because to humans, individuals are victory," Jake explained. "We believe that saving one person is worth any risk." As the war continued, something amazing happened. Other species began to copy human behavior. Alien soldiers started refusing to abandon their comrades. Ships that would have retreated began staying to help others escape. The Federation forces grew stronger because they started fighting like humans, with their hearts as well as their minds. Jake often wondered about Zara during these long months of battle. He heard reports about the Etherian Empire's crystal fleets fighting bravely against the Vorthons. Sometimes he would see crystal ships in the distance during battles, and his heart would beat faster, hoping she might be there. One day, Captain Kelly brought Jake terrible news. The Etherian homeworld had been attacked. The crystal cities that Zara had described to him were badly damaged. Many of the royal family had been killed or hurt in the fighting. "Is she alive?" Jake asked, his voice shaking. "We don't know," Kelly said gently. "The Etherians don't share information about their royal family with outsiders." That night, Jake tried the communication device again. He spoke into it like he had every night for 2 years. "Zara, if you can hear this, I'm still here. I remember everything you told me. I remember the way your crystal cities sing in the wind. I remember how your eyes look like stars. I'm waiting for you to come home." The device stayed silent as always. The war grew worse in the 3rd year. The Vorthons had better weapons and seemed impossible to defeat. Many Federation species began to lose hope. Some even talked about surrendering to save their remaining people. But humans refused to give up. Even when Earth itself was threatened, human leaders kept saying they would fight until the end. This stubborn refusal to quit began to inspire other species. "Humans are crazy," said Admiral Korth of the fish-like Aquarians. "But their craziness gives the rest of us strength." Jake began to understand something important about his own species. Humans had a special ability that other aliens did not have. They could love and remember people across great distances and long times. When a human cared about someone, that feeling stayed strong no matter what happened. This was why human soldiers never abandoned their comrades. This was why humans kept fighting when logic said they should quit. They were not just fighting for themselves or even for their species. They were fighting for everyone they had ever cared about, everyone they remembered, and everyone they hoped to see again. As the 4th year of war began, Jake realized he was fighting for Zara too. Even though he had not seen her for so long, even though she might be dead, his feelings for her had not weakened. If anything, they had grown stronger. Every battle he helped win was one step closer to the peace that might bring her home. The other species in the Federation began to study human behavior. They wanted to understand this strange ability to maintain strong feelings across time and space. Scientists called it persistent emotional bonding, but Jake knew it had a simpler name. It was called love. And somehow this very human thing was helping to win a war between the stars. The final battle of the war happened in the 5th year, in the Vorthon home system. Jake watched from the command ship as thousands of Federation vessels surrounded the dark planet, where the enemy had started their campaign of destruction. Princess Zarathis led the crystal ship fleet in the final attack. Jake did not know this at the time, but she was there, fighting with courage that amazed even her own people. Her crystal ship glowed bright blue as it cut through enemy lines like a sword made of light. The Vorthon homeworld was a terrible place. It was covered in black factories that made weapons of war. The sky was dark with smoke and the oceans were poisoned. The Vorthons had destroyed their own planet to build their war machine, and now they wanted to do the same to the entire galaxy. "All ships, begin the final assault," ordered Admiral Roy Jackson from the Federation command vessel. His voice was tired but determined. 5 years of war had aged him, but his spirit remained strong. Jake watched the battle through the ship's viewing screens. Crystal ships fired beams of pure energy. Human vessels launched missiles that bloomed like deadly flowers. The fish-like Aquarian ships moved in beautiful patterns, their weapons striking like ocean waves. Every species in the Federation fought together in perfect harmony, but the Vorthons fought back with desperate fury. They knew this was their last chance to win. Their dark ships swarmed out from their planet like angry bees trying to break the Federation attack. In the middle of the battle, something terrible happened. A group of Vorthan ships broke through the Federation lines and headed straight for the Crystal Fleet. They fired a new weapon that Jake had never seen before, a black beam that seemed to eat light itself. Zara's ship was hit by this dark weapon. Her beautiful crystal vessel began to crack and lose its glow. Jake could not see this happening, but somehow his heart felt the moment when she was hurt. The communication device in his pocket grew warm as if it was trying to tell him something. The battle lasted for 6 hours. When it was over, the Vorthan fleet was destroyed and their homeworld surrendered. The war was finally won, but the cost had been enormous. Jake learned about Zara's injury 3 days later. Captain Kelly brought him the official report with sad eyes. The Etherian princess was badly hurt in the final battle, she said gently. She's alive, but barely. They've put her in a medical stasis pod for the long journey home. Jake's hands shook as he read the report. Zara's crystal body had been cracked in 17 places by the Vorthan weapon. Her life energy was so low that doctors were not sure she would survive even in stasis. The journey back to Federation space would take months. Can I see her? Jake asked. She's already gone, Kelly said. The Etherian medical ship left yesterday. Jake, you need to prepare yourself. She might not wake up from the stasis. For the first time since the war began, Jake felt like giving up. He had spent 5 years hoping to see Zara again. He had carried her memory through every battle and every long night. Now she was hurt and far away, and he might never get to tell her that he had kept his promise. But President Nancy Williams had other plans for Jake. Earth's leader was a wise woman who understood that the wars and was just the beginning of new challenges. Martinez, I'm promoting you to Director of Interspecies Relations, she told him in her office on Earth. The galaxy has changed during this war. We need someone who understands both human nature and alien cultures. Jake accepted the job, though his heart was heavy with worry about Zara. His new position meant working to help all the different species learn to live together in peace. The war had brought them together as allies, but peace would be much harder than war. Dr. Alan Foster, a human psychologist, had spent the war years studying the behavior of different species. He came to Jake's office with an amazing discovery. I've been researching why humans perform so well in this war, Dr. Foster said. He was a thin man with thick glasses who loved to study the mind. What I found will change how the galaxy thinks about our species. What did you discover? Jake asked. Humans have a unique biological ability, Dr. Foster explained. We can form what I call persistent emotional bonds. We can maintain strong feelings for other beings across vast distances and long periods of time. No other known species has this trait. Jake thought about his feelings for Zara. Even after 5 years and no contact, he still loved her as much as the day she left Earth. You mean other aliens don't feel this way? Most species form relationships based on immediate physical presence and mutual benefit, Dr. Foster said. When those conditions change, their feelings fade quickly. But humans can love someone they haven't seen in years, hold grudges across decades, and maintain hope when logic suggests despair. This discovery explained many things about the war. It was why human soldiers never abandoned their comrades. It was why humans kept fighting when other species wanted to surrender. It was why humans could work with any alien species. They had the ability to care about others regardless of time, distance, or differences. The news of this human trait spread quickly through the Federation. Some species were amazed and impressed. Others were frightened. If humans could maintain strong emotions across time and space, it made them incredibly loyal friends but potentially dangerous enemies. Ambassador Rachel Kim, Earth's new chief diplomat, came to Jake with concerns from other species. The Granite Warriors are worried that humans might hold grudges against them for past disagreements, she said. The Aquarians want to know if human friendship comes with permanent obligations. Everyone wants to understand what this emotional persistence means for future relationships. Jake realized that his personal experience with Zara was actually an example of something much larger. His ability to love her across 5 years of separation was not just romantic, it was a fundamental part of human nature. We need to help other species understand that this trait is mostly positive, Jake told Rachel. Yes, humans remember bad things for a long time, but we also remember good things. We don't forget kindness, friendship, or love. As Jake worked to build peace between species, he also waited for news about Zara. The Etherian medical ship was still traveling through space, moving slowly to keep her stable in stasis. Doctors reported that her condition was not getting worse, but it was not getting better either. She's fighting to stay alive, Dr. Helen Clark told Jake during a video call. Helen was the human doctor working with the Etherian medical team. Her vital signs show something I've never seen before. It's like she has a reason to live that's keeping her going. Jake hoped he knew what that reason was. He hoped that Zara had the same ability to remember across time and space that humans did. He hoped that somewhere in her stasis dreams, she was holding on to their promise to find each other again. The galaxy was healing from the war, but the scars would last for generations. Entire worlds needed to be rebuilt. Millions of refugees needed new homes. Different species had to learn to trust each other in peace, which was sometimes harder than trusting each other in war. But Jake had learned something important during those 5 terrible years. Humans had a gift that could help heal the galaxy. Their ability to maintain love and hope across any distance or time could teach other species new ways to connect with each other. As he worked late into the night, coordinating refugee efforts and peace treaties, Jake touched the communication device in his pocket. Soon, very soon, he would find out if his promise to remember Zara had been strong enough to bring her home. The message came on a quiet Tuesday morning while Jake was reviewing peace treaty documents. Captain Steve Johnson's face appeared on his communication screen, smiling with good news. Director Martinez, the Etherian medical ship just arrived at Earth's orbital station, Steve said. His voice carried excitement and relief. Princess Zarathis is alive, and the doctors think she's going to recover. Jake's heart jumped like it had been shocked with electricity. After 5 years of hoping and waiting, Zara was finally here. He dropped his work papers and ran to catch the next shuttle to the orbital medical station. Dr. Helen Clark met Jake at the station's main entrance. She was a tall woman with kind eyes who had worked with many different alien species during the war. Her face showed both happiness and concern. "Jake, I need to prepare you for what you're going to see," Helen said as they walked through the white hallways. Zara's injuries were very severe. Her crystal body is healing, but slowly. And there may be other changes, too. "What kind of changes?" Jake asked, though he was not sure he wanted to know. 5 years in stasis, plus the trauma of war. It affects the mind as well as the body, Helen explained. She's been conscious during most of the stasis period, which should have been impossible. Her thoughts have been active for years while her body healed. We don't know how that might have changed her. They stopped outside a special medical room designed for crystal-based life forms. Through the clear door, Jake could see a figure lying on a bed made of soft light. His breath caught in his throat. Zara looked different than he remembered. Her crystal body was paler with thin silver lines where cracks had been repaired. She seemed smaller somehow, and her inner glow was dimmer than before. But she was alive, and she was here. "Is she awake?" Jake asked quietly. "Sometimes," Helen said. "She drifts in and out of consciousness. The doctors say this is normal for someone recovering from such severe injuries. But Jake, there's something else you should know." "What?" "She's been asking for you. Even when she was barely conscious, she kept saying your name. The Etherian doctors don't understand it. They say her species usually forgets emotional connections after extended separation." Jake's heart felt warm and full, even across 5 years, and terrible injury. Zara had remembered him just as he had remembered her. Maybe humans were not the only species who could love across time and space. "Can I see her now?" he asked. Helen nodded and opened the door. Jake walked slowly into the room, not wanting to startle Zara if she was sleeping. The medical equipment hummed softly, monitoring her crystal body's energy levels. As Jake approached her bed, Zara's eyes opened. They were still like deep blue stars, but now they held depths that spoke of pain and long suffering. When she saw Jake, her crystal body began to glow brighter. "Jake Martinez," she said, her voice weaker than he remembered, but still musical. "You came." "Of course I came," Jake said, pulling a chair close to her bed. "I promised I would be here when you returned." Zara tried to sit up but was too weak. Jake gently helped her adjust her position. Her crystal skin felt cool and smooth under his hands, but he could feel the energy flowing through her like warm light. "I need to ask you something," Zara said, looking into his eyes with an expression he could not read. "Have you forgotten me, human?" The question hung in the air between them like a bridge waiting to be crossed. Jake realized this was the most important moment of his life. Everything they had been to each other, everything they might be in the future, depended on his answer. "No," Jake said simply. "I never forgot you. Not for a single day." Zara's crystal body turned bright gold, the color of joy among her people. Tears that looked like liquid diamonds ran down her face. "I was afraid," she whispered. "5 years is so long. I thought you might have found someone else to care about. I thought the human ability to love might not be as strong as it seemed." "Tell me about the war," Jake said, taking her crystal hand in his human one. "Tell me what happened to you." Over the next hour, Zara told Jake about the terrible battle where she was injured. She had been leading her people's ships against a Vorthon weapon that could destroy crystal-based life. She knew the attack was dangerous, but she also knew that someone had to stop the weapon before it killed millions of her people. "I was not afraid to die," she said. "But I was afraid to die without seeing you again. During the stasis, I dreamed about Earth. I dreamed about our walks in your embassy gardens. I dreamed about the promise you made to remember me." "I kept that promise," Jake said. "And I did more than just remember. I learned your language so I could speak to your people in their own words. I studied your culture and history. I worked to create a galaxy where humans and Etherians could be friends openly." Zara looked surprised. "You learned our language, but it is so difficult for other species." Jake spoke to her in perfect Etherian, the crystal language that sounded like singing wind. He told her that he loved her, that he had missed her every day, and that he wanted to help her heal from the war's damage. Zara's glow became so bright that Jake had to squint his eyes. "This is impossible," she said. "No non-crystal being has ever learned to speak our language fluently. How did you do this?" "Love is a powerful teacher," Jake said. "When you care about someone, you want to understand everything about them." Dr. Helen Clark entered the room with test results. She looked amazed as she read the numbers on her datapad. "Zara's healing rate just increased by 30%, Helen said. "Her energy levels are higher than they've been since she arrived. Whatever you two are doing, keep doing it." Over the following days, Jake visited Zara every morning and evening. Each time he came, she seemed stronger and more like the princess he had fallen in love with 5 years ago. But she was also different in ways that made her even more interesting. The war had made Zara wiser and sadder, but also more understanding of other species. She had fought beside humans, fish-like Aquarians, rock-like granite warriors, and many others. She had seen how different species could work together when they shared common goals. "I understand now why humans are so special," she told Jake one evening as they looked out at Earth through the station's windows. "Your ability to maintain emotional connections across time and space is not just romantic. It is the foundation of lasting peace." "What do you mean?" Jake asked. "Most species make agreements based on immediate benefit," Zara explained. "When situations change, they feel no obligation to honor old promises, but humans remember their commitments. You keep your word even when it becomes difficult or costly." Jake realized she was right. Human soldiers had kept fighting for alien comrades long after the logical benefits disappeared. Human diplomats were working to help former enemies rebuild their worlds. Humans were creating refugee programs for species they had never met before the war. "The galaxy needs this human trait," Zara continued. "Without it, peace will be as temporary as the last war. But with it, different species can learn to trust each other for the long term." As Zara grew stronger, she began to receive visitors from her own people. Emperor Keth Aaron, her father, came to see her recovery. He was surprised to find her speaking with a human in their private crystal language. "Daughter, this human knows our sacred words," the emperor said, his crystal body showing purple confusion. "Father, this is Jake Martinez," Zara said proudly. "He is the human I told you about before the war. He learned our language because he wanted to understand me completely. The Emperor studied Jake with ancient crystal eyes. Young human, my daughter has changed since the war. She speaks of things I do not understand. She says your species has abilities that could help our galaxy heal. Explain this to me. Jake took a deep breath and began to tell the Emperor about human emotional persistence. He explained how humans could maintain love, friendship, and commitment across any distance or time. He showed how this trait had helped win the war and could help build lasting peace. When Jake finished speaking, the Emperor was quiet for a long time. Finally, he said, "If this is true, then humans are more valuable than any weapon or technology. You may be the key to ending wars forever." As Zara's strength returned, she and Jake began to plan for the future. The galaxy was still healing from the war, and their unique friendship could be an example for other species to follow. They would show everyone that love could bridge any gap, even between stars. 3 months after Zara's return to Earth, she was well enough to walk through the embassy gardens where she and Jake had first become close. Her crystal body had healed completely and her inner light was brighter than ever, but the most important healing had happened in her heart. They walked slowly along the same paths they had explored 5 years ago, before the war changed everything. The flowers were blooming and birds sang in the trees. Earth seemed more beautiful to both of them after seeing so much destruction across the galaxy. "Jake, I need to ask you something serious," Zara said as they sat by the lake where they had shared their last evening together before the war. "Ask me anything," Jake replied, taking her crystal hand in his. "Have you forgotten me, human?" Zara asked again, but this time her voice held a different meaning. Jake looked confused. "You asked me that question in the medical station. I told you that I never forgot you." "No," Zara said, her crystal body glowing soft blue with gentle amusement. "I am asking you something different now. During the war, I was a princess and a warrior. I made difficult decisions that cost many lives. I saw terrible things that changed me. I am not the same person who left Earth 5 years ago. So I ask again, have you forgotten the old me? Can you love the person I have become?" Jake understood now. This was not about memory. It was about acceptance and growth. He thought carefully before answering. "The Zara who left Earth was curious and kind," he said slowly. "She wanted to understand how different species could work together. The Zara who came back is still curious and kind, but now she's also wise and strong. She has seen the worst that the galaxy can offer, but she still believes in peace. I don't love you despite the changes, Zara. I love you because of them." Zara's crystal body turned the warm gold color of deep happiness. "This is what I hoped you would say, but I needed to hear it. Now I have a question for you," Jake said. "I've spent 5 years working to create a galaxy where we could be together openly. I've learned your language, studied your culture, and built programs to help humans and aliens understand each other. But I'm still just a human from Earth. Are you sure this is what you want?" Zara laughed, a sound like silver bells in a gentle wind. "Jake Martinez, do you know what I learned during the war? Tell me." "I learned that humans are not just anything. Your species has a gift that no other beings in the galaxy possess. You can love someone across time, space, and change. You can remember not just facts about people, but how they made you feel. You can hold on to hope when logic says it is impossible." She stood up and walked to the edge of the lake, looking at her reflection in the water. "During my 5 years in stasis, I was conscious but unable to move or speak. I should have gone insane from loneliness and fear, but I didn't, because I remembered every moment we spent together. I remembered your promise to wait for me, and somehow that memory kept me strong enough to survive." Jake joined her at the water's edge. Other species are starting to understand this about humans. Some are trying to learn how to form lasting emotional bonds like we do. "That's wonderful," Zara said, "but they will need teachers. They will need examples of how persistent love can work between different species." Over the following weeks, Jake and Zara began working together on something amazing. They created the first human-alien cultural exchange program, designed to help different species learn from each other in deep, lasting ways. Ambassador Chris Taylor, a young human diplomat, was assigned to help them. He was excited about the project but worried about the challenges. "Director Martinez, how do we teach other species to form emotional bonds like humans do?" Chris asked during a planning meeting. "We don't teach them to be human," Jake explained. "We help them understand what persistent emotional connection can accomplish. We show them that maintaining relationships across time and distance makes all species stronger. The program started small, with just a few volunteers from different species. But word spread quickly through the Federation about the amazing results. Captain Ben Murphy, the human pilot who had never abandoned his comrades during the war, came to speak to mixed groups of humans and aliens. He explained how caring about teammates made military units more effective. Dr. Alan Foster shared his research about human emotional persistence with alien scientists. They were fascinated to learn that human brains were actually different from other species' brains in measurable ways. Humans have larger areas devoted to long-term emotional memory. Dr. Foster explained to a group of crystal-based scientists, "You store relationships as logical data that fades over time. Humans store relationships as emotional experiences that can actually grow stronger with time." The most successful part of the program was when Jake and Zara traveled to different worlds together. They would speak to crowds of mixed species about how their love had survived 5 years of war and separation. Before the war, many species thought emotional connections were weakness, Zara would tell these audiences. But we learned that the opposite is true. The ability to care about others across time and space is actually a form of strength that makes individuals and societies more stable. Jake would add, "Humans don't just remember facts about people we care about. We remember how those people made us feel, and those feelings motivate us to help them, protect them, and work for their happiness even when they're not around to see it." Young aliens from many species began forming friendships with humans to learn about persistent emotional bonding. Some succeeded better than others, but even partial success created stronger relationships than these species had ever experienced before. Emperor Ketharin invited Jake and Zara to visit the Etherian homeworld, which was still being rebuilt after the war. Jake was the first human ever to be given this honor. The crystal cities were even more beautiful than Zara had described years ago. They rose from the ground like musical instruments made of light, singing harmony with the wind. But Jake could also see the damage. From Vorthan attacks, dark scars where the crystal had been broken and repaired. "Your presence here is very important," the Emperor told Jake as they stood in the Palace of Singing Light. "My people are beginning to understand that emotional persistence is not a human weakness but a human strength. Some of our young crystals are trying to learn this ability." "Are they succeeding?" Jake asked. "Slowly," the Emperor said. "It is difficult to change behavior that has evolved over millions of years. But those who learn even small amounts of persistent bonding become better friends, better workers, and better family members." As Jake and Zara worked together, they realized their relationship had become something larger than just romance. They were living proof that different species could love each other deeply and permanently. They showed the galaxy that emotional connections could bridge any gap. Other human-alien couples began forming throughout Federation space. Human soldiers married alien war comrades. Human scientists formed research partnerships with alien colleagues that lasted decades. Human children made friends with alien children and maintained those friendships as they grew up. "We're changing the galaxy," Zara said to Jake one evening as they watched the sunset from Earth's embassy balcony. "Not through weapons or technology, but through teaching others how to love persistently." "Do you think it will last?" Jake asked. "Will other species really learn to maintain emotional bonds like humans do?" Zara's crystal body glowed with soft confidence. "Some will, some won't. But even those who can't learn the ability will benefit from being around those who have it. Humans will become the emotional foundation that holds galactic society together." Jake thought about his promise to remember Zara across time and space. He had kept that promise, and it had changed both their lives. Now they were helping others learn to make and keep similar promises. "What do we call this?" Jake asked. "This thing that humans do that other species are trying to learn?" Zara smiled, her crystal face reflecting the last light of the setting sun. "We call it love," she said simply. "We call it remembering with the heart. We call it the human gift to the galaxy." As stars began to appear in the darkening sky, Jake and Zara made new promises to each other. But these were not promises just between two individuals. They were promises to help their galaxy heal, to teach others about lasting connection, and to show that love could survive anything, even the distance between stars. The war was over, but their real work was just beginning. They would spend their lives proving that when someone asks, "Have you forgotten me?" the human answer will always be, "No, we remember. We remember everything."